Hello everyone, another Trey here, and welcome to episode 25 of another Trey's Let's Play Modded Minecraft for version 1.21. Today we're going to be working more on apotheosis, enchanting, and a machine that's going to help us deal with enchantments and manipulate them on our items. Yesterday we worked on this animal farm. We got our sheep going so that we have wool in order to make lots and lots of cables, because you need cables to make wool, or you need wool to make the cables. We also made this cow setup so that we have pink slime and liquid meat going. I did notice between episodes that if you look down here, you'll see that these guys actually say missing device, missing channel, which means these items aren't going to be showing up in our system. In order to fix that, we need better cables than these cables. These cables can only carry 8 channels. And we're already using the 8 channels for other things by the time they get back to the system. So in order to fix that, there's a couple ways to do it. For right now, we're just going to be making better cables, which are called dense cables. And they're made just by taking the regular Fluic Smart cables and putting 4 of them together to make one. So they're pretty expensive, but I like using them. So we're going to go ahead and put this right here, and we're gonna see if we can request, like, we get like a stack of these guys. Yeah, probably pretty easily, actually. We're pretty crazy on resources. That's gonna use like 4 stacks of wool, I guess, which really isn't a big deal for us. We have plenty. The other thing we can do is use peer-to-peer tunnels, which I might end up doing if this gets too expensive on the cable front, which it actually is going to be pretty expensive, isn't it? Because we're going to run all the way from here through here. I mean, I'm going to want this to be dense cable eventually anyway, because we're going to be running all of our peer-to-peer through dense cables so that we can have 32 channels of 32 channels. But for now, let's see. Yeah, I think for now we're just going to make a bunch of these dense cables. What is this struggling on? It's not. It's just making all our cables, and then it's going to turn them into dense cables all at once. So, yep, now it's making the dense cables. And let's see if this is going to be enough to run all the way down there. I wish there was a way to just replace these in place. For now, what we're going to do is we're going to break that guy. That's going to cut everything off on our base. Let's go ahead and do that. I think it did actually also break these, which is not what we wanted. And then our dense cables are going to come down here. That's going to connect back up. We did have, that's where our connection site for our power peer-to-peer tunnel was. So that's going to be a problem, isn't it? Oops, not that. I think it may have kept its connection. You know what? I think, yeah. Oh, you know what? I don't think these guys can connect directly to, well, maybe they can. Let's see what happens if we go here. Can we then put a dense cable here? No. What if we do energy guy here? I forgot these don't actually let you walk on them. And then we're going to put a smart cable here. No, it won't. See, you actually have to put it up a block. Oops, we don't want that to be a dense one. That's the problem. We want it to be a regular cable. And then we're going to put it there. And then that should connect it back up. Does it still have the same channel? I hope. No, this has no frequency now, which probably means we're going to have to reconnect everything. So let me run around and reconnect all the cables, and I will be back. Okay, so now we got our happy device online. And if we follow this back, we got 2 channels here, connecting up to all this. We got 6 channels, 7 channels. This dense cable came all the way from home to here, and we've got 2 coming in here and 7 coming in here, making this a total of 9 channels. So that should be fine. I feel like that's low. Do I have... Okay, so yeah, this is not the right frequency anymore. So that should be good. Then we have another one in here, I believe. Yep. So that one's now good. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 6 because we got 2 here. And then when we connect with these two, we got 7 here. So that makes 9 total, running all the way back to here. Connecting up with that makes 10, and then we should have a total of 10 channels right there. And we can have up to 32 going through this dense cable. So we're good there. Let's check and make sure we now have access to our liquid meat. We do, and access to our pink slime. We do. Okay, so now that we have access to that, we should be able to craft our enchantment. What's it called? Enchantment Extractor. In order to make Enchantment Extractor, we need this guy right here. So let's go ahead over here and automate these. So the Enchantment Extractor, we're going to put here. Should be all the recipes that we like. There's some nether bricks here that we don't know how to make yet, but that should be fine. Let's go ahead. Oh, you know what? We didn't want to make the Enchantment Extractor. Let's clear that. We want to make the machine frame. So let's go ahead and type in machine frame, and that's going to be the advanced machine frame that includes the pink slime. Yep. How much pink slime did that need? So 500 millibuckets is going to be half a bucket. So in order to manually do that, we're going to go into pink slime, drag that over, and then middle click, and we're going to put in 0.5 so that it requests exactly half a bucket. And that, put this over here. Where is our section for these guys? Right here. We're actually going to slide him in right here and move all these guys down. What is this? Oh, right. He's a processing one, actually. We can't put him in there at all. So we need to go all the way down until we find our dissolution chamber. That's what we actually wanted. And then we'll slide those down. So now if we request a enchantment, okay, so an enchantment extractor, we're going to need the advanced machine frame. So we do that, advanced machine frame. Next, it does say we're missing the 2 netherite scraps. And of course, those are annoying because our system doesn't make netherite scraps. It just makes netherite. So is there a way to get netherite scraps from netherite? I don't think so. I think we have to get the ancient debris. Yep, so I guess it's off to the nether we go. Get just like 2 pieces of scrap. We should just be able to go down here, right? Should have made this wider. You know what? Now that I look at it, there's another upgrade we may be able to make. Let's see if we can do this, because this is going to make this way easier. There is an upgrade called the Ore X-Ray. Let's go ahead and craft everything. We need ferrocore ingots, which means this is another thing that we're going to need to spend a little bit of time automating for pretty soon, is all the dire ores. So let's get these guys go. Okay, then let's make our this guy and then look up our X-ray again. What are we missing? 2 of these, which that should be pretty easy. And then we get our upgrade or X-ray. And that is going to go, I believe, in our tool. Yep. Then if we go to the nether, head down into our little hole here. layer 15 is going to be the layer that you find netherite the most commonly, I believe. So right here, and then if we right click, it's going to show us all the ores around us in the ground, and we can actually just go grab them. I'm not seeing any netherite. Oh, there's some. Oh my gosh, it's all over the place. There's one. And then that should be all that we needed, right? Okay, then we can go home. That made quick work of that. And throw that in the system. Now let's go ahead and make our, hopefully finally, Enchantment Extractor. It's going to ask us to make all this stuff. We're going to go ahead and say, yep. Go ahead and do that. We're waiting on the advanced machine frame. We can put some speed upgrades in that machine. We might end up doing that because this is a little bit slow, especially as we get higher and higher up the tiers. Let's get our Enchantment Extractor. Ta-da! Then this guy is going to live like right here next to our enchantment setup. We do need some power, which should be pretty easy because these guys are all connected to power. So let's just go down here, I think. And what kind of cables are these? Just those guys? We don't have very many of those. But let's see if we can get there anyway. Nope, we're not going to get there. So let's go make some more. Should have plenty of cables. That should get some power into this guy. So one of the things we're going to need for him are books. And what it's going to do is it's going to take an item that we enchant, and it's going to pull the enchantments off of it. So if we go to our enchanting table over here, for example, and we have 91 levels, and we go ahead and we throw this in here and we say, let's see, Inner's Fervor, we don't really want that. There's a sharpness 5, so give us attack speed 4 and venomous 4. Then if we go over here to this guy, let's fill in this hole. That's going to bother me. Fill that in. And then we throw our sword in here. It's slowly going to pull the enchantments off one by one. It's going to put them down here. And, oh, we had 3 enchantments. Oh, attack speed 4. I didn't even see that one. And then we're just going to have our item back. And we can do this as many times as we want to manipulate our enchantments. So in order to make this even easier, we are going to want something else. I'm not sure if we can make it yet, so let me check really quickly. So there is a library block. An enchantment library is going to require 4 ender chests, an enchanting table. Yeah, we can actually do this right now. So let's go ahead and get an enchanting table. Go ahead and clear out our inventory a little bit. We don't need all this stuff directly on us. We actually don't need you at all. So that can go in the system. How? We're constantly getting copper on us. Okay, so in order to make this library, needed enchanting table, done. 4 enchanted, so we're going to use infused hell shelves, and we need 4 ender chests. So let's go ahead and press those ender chests. Okay. Those 4 and those 4, and then we just need the 4 bookshelves turned into hell shelves. Actually, does our system know just how to make directly hell shelves? It does. So we need for those, we do need 4 potions of regeneration, which means we're going to need gas tears. 2. And we're going to need some nether wart. Gonna need some bottles. Probably have a bunch of this stuff over here. Yeah, maybe not. So these are awkward potions already. That's great that we have this started, because that means it won't take nearly as long. All right, I'm also going to set this up so the purple output is going to push to the west. This guy here. So any enchanted books we get should automatically push into this. Yeah. Let's get these going. Or we actually had an extra health shelf, so I'm going to go ahead and enchant that guy, and then we're going to craft the other 3. And then they are going to need enchanted as well. So we got our 4 hell shells now, and then let's go ahead and look at that library again. Cool. In order to make the better library, we're going to need to enchant our enchantment library to make it a library of Alexandria. And that is going to require us to have very, very specific things. We're going to need 100 our capped out Eterna, capped out Arcana, and then between 45 and 50 Quanta, which is a very specific number. And we will get to that point later. But for now, I'm just going to break this guy, and we're going to put our enchantment library here so that all the enchantments we get are automatically pushed into this. And we're going to start putting our enchantments in here. Basically, what this is going to do is it's going to allow us to put enchanted books inside this library and then pull them out one by one as we need them. So for instance, if we have protection 3, it's going to say that we have 4 points of protection available. So if we request it, we can get protection 1. We can get protection 2, we can get protection 3, but we can't go any higher because we don't have any more. It's also only going to allow us to pull out enchantments up to the point of the highest level book that we put in. So if we had, let's say, 3 level 1 enchantment protection books and put them all in here, it would still only let us pull out the 3 level 1 enchantment books. But because we had a level 3 enchantment book, it will let us pull out up to the level 3 enchantment book. We're also going to throw everything else we have in here. A lot of this stuff I don't really care about. Look at the C. Capturing 3 is really good. We're definitely going to want to put that on our sword at some point. That is basically going to allow mobs to drop their spawn eggs. I think capture 3 is the highest level of that. We're going to put attack speed in there. Sharpness is going to go in there. I'm also going to take, so these are some enchantments that we don't have yet. And you're going to see that as I put these in here, they're going to drop into there, but then they're immediately going to get pushed over here. So for instance, we should have just got mending, and the other one was like health. Yep. So we got health from those pants. And then we're just going to have these diamond leggings. I'm going to go ahead and disenchant all this stuff. We do not want to disenchant our Silk Touch pickaxe, so I'll throw that in there so I don't forget. Take that out. These are going to be junk. I don't think there's any way that we can turn these like back into diamonds. We can upgrade them, I guess, to like different armors and stuff. There's some upgrades. So I guess there are some uses for them, but we don't really need them. So for now, I think I'm just going to throw them in a chest somewhere out of the way. Probably delete them, but it's hard to do. Just because, like, if you've been playing Minecraft for as long as I have, you know how difficult back in the day it was to get a full set of diamond armor, and it still just feels wrong to throw away diamond anything. So where did I put that? Up here. Didn't throw these in there. I think we're just going to put this chest. Let's move this. We're going to put the chest here so that we can use this as kind of like our brewing station. We'll put these in here. I did have a bunch of bottles. I probably just threw them in the system, or did I throw them in my backpack? I threw them in. All right, so we got that. We do have a few more things to disenchant here. Also, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another chest. Somebody with a backpack around, and he's being very loud. Let's go ahead and put this chest here. And what I'm going to do is make it so that the input, let's see, we're going to pull. It's not right. We want to pull from the top because that's going to be the chest above. So now, and then for the enchantless item output, we are going to push. So basically what it's going to do is I'm going to throw an enchanted item in here, like this diamond pickaxe. It's going to pull it in here. It's going to disenchant it, and then it's going to push the item left over back up here. Cool. I don't know why I have all these swords in here. I do the same thing with this sword. Really what I'd like to do is also make it so that this is always full of books. We can do that with our system. Let's go ahead and see if we can get some better enchantments for our sword. Fire aspect, vampirism, don't really care about any. Vampirism's not bad because it'll allow us to steal health back from mobs. So I'm going to be doing a lot of this between episodes. What do we get there? Stunning 4. Oh, there is a capturing 4. That's nice. Do we have any other enchanted items? I don't think so. So really what I'd like to see is some sharpness and some things. So what do we have in here right now? Also, you can sort what enchantments it shows by putting the item up here. It will now only show items that can apply to swords. So if I do attack speed, the level 4 capturing, it will now allow us to take the level 4 capturing out, which is awesome. We've got mending, we've got sharpness 5, we've got stunning, sweeping edge, unbreaking doesn't really matter because it's uses FE to recharge itself. Vampirism might be good. Really, I would like some looting. Looting and fortune would be good. Reaping, another capturing. So yeah, like I said, I'm going to be doing this a lot between episodes, but for now, we should be able to just go ahead and move on with Apotheosis. So let me decide when I want to work on with this next, and I'll be right back. So since we're running out of time for this episode, I think rather than start to upgrade our Apotheosis setup more, what I want to do is work more on this Enchantment Extractor. I want to make it so that books are automatically outputted into this system. And the way I'm going to do that is by running a cable over here. I think we're going to do it basically the same way we did with our cow farm. We're going to go ahead and make a P2P tunnel, the power, and then we're going to make an interface to send the books over. We're also going to need a crafting card. We make those? Yep. That guy. And we're going to need a bunch of cables. Do I have a bunch of cables? I actually have a ton of cables. So let's go ahead and run this. I also need a way to divide these. So let's get this and then go. And then if we put these in here, that should split them up. This is just one way to separate cables like this. You can also color the cables in order to make them not connect. And there's a couple ways to do that, which we will get into. But for now, we're just going to use those because it's simple. I'm going to run this guy over here. We're going to disconnect this power because we're not actually going to connect him with these guys. Okay. And then I think what we're going to have to do is put our interface. Go ahead and close this up so that we know we can't put anything there. We're going to put our interface there, which means the cable's going to have to run back here. And then we put our interface here. We tell this we want books. And it should take those and fill up that whole inventory. So let's go ahead and do this. I wonder... Nah, that should be fine. So now that should tell it that it can craft the books it needs to send over here. And then go ahead and we're going to have to make this a power guy. But first we're going to do that. And then we're going to take our energy acceptor, make this a power guy. And then we should just be able to grab our cable, right click that so that it knows where to get the power from. Then it's a matter of using our conduits that can take up the same block space. So we need items and we need power. So here's item conduit. Our power conduits are here. We're running really low on those. We do one of those and one of those, and then another one of those and another one of those. We have to make sure that this on items is set to insert. And this guy, we have to make sure he's set to extract, always active. And then we should be filling up on books in here. If we take some out, you'll see that it's going to start putting more in. This guy should only keep one of them at a time. And then he has power, but he already had power. It says it's online, so I'm going to assume that that is working. And then let's run over here and test it out. So if we get an enchanted item, so if we enchant this guy again, unbreaking, stunning 4, and attack speed, and we throw it in here, it looks like the power is not going down, which means he does have an active connection. The books are going up as we rip the enchantments off, and we've got our sword back. All the enchantments are being put in this box. So that is a pretty good deal. Yeah. We'll need those. Let's go ahead and do our pickaxe one time to see what we can get here. Fortune 3. That was a good... Fortune 3, efficiency 4, and timber. We don't actually need timber because we already have the ability to chop down an entire tree at once because of our upgrades. So I actually might just leave that on there. I'm curious. Let's go see what happens when we chop down a tree now. If it does like a different thing or if it still just looks like, because we have our upgrade, that it didn't really need that. I've been meaning to cut down the trees over here because they're blocking this. Okay, so you can't really tell a difference. The same effect twice. Yeah. I'm just going to leave those enchantments on there. So yeah, that's our enchantment extractor setup that we got courtesy of Industrial Foregoing, thanks to the pink slime we got from our animal farm last episode. That was a pretty fun build to do. It looks like the cows are being murdered the second that they grow up and come over here. We're up to 6.7 buckets of pink fluid and then 360 millibuckets of the liquid meat. This liquid meat actually has a use. You can use it to multiply ores, which can be useful depending on the pack you're playing. I have so many resources that I don't really need to multiply my ores. We might do it for fun anyway, but for now, that's what it's used for. So yeah. That's our enchantment extractor setup. Next episode, we'll continue working on apotheosis. We'll get our next tier of bookshelves. We might even go all the way to the top at this point. Let's check on our mob farm really quickly just to see how much experience we have saved up at this point. 126 levels. Let's take all of them. And we're now at level 140. Cool. We can get all the enchantments we want, basically. So, yeah. Thanks for joining me for this episode. Oh, there's some looting. Thanks for joining me for this episode, guys. If you like the episode, please give it a like. Subscribe if you want to see more. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye.